Could you give us a quick intro on like who you are, what you do, and why you're like the infamous Mert?
Sure. Um, I'm Mert. I am unfortunately Canadian, although now I'm a Habibi in Dubai. I run Helios, which is an RPC company on Solana. So if you have done anything on Solana, you probably use our stuff without knowing it. And I shit post a lot. And I don't have hair.
That's awesome, dude. I appreciate you coming. How many hours a day do you think you spend on Twitter?
Ooh, probably like four hours, I would say, something like that.
It's pretty good.
The thing is, I don't think. I just post right away, and then I'll go back to Slack or Telegram or Discord, and so I just fire them off.
I don't really think either. I actually didn't plan to ask you about this, but do you think that being so prominent and loud on Twitter has like significantly helped your company and your career?
It's certainly helped. Yes, it's helped both. It's helped the career probably more than the company, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
It has helped the company though. So, like for example, an interesting stat is we don't spend any money on marketing or sales. We never even reach out to teams, right? Like most companies, you need to do a sales function, cold call, all this shit. We don't do that. People just come to us because we built this brand of trust, and I'm just everywhere. So, like, I annoy people into reaching out at some point.
Yeah, that's honestly the sickest edge. Is people just like know who you are, so they just come to you, which is pretty awesome. I mean, can you give me the? I'm sure you've been asked a million times, but can you give me the breakdown on like what Helios is, like what you do with the company?
Sure. I'm not sure how technical the audience is, but I'll just assume not technical.
Yeah,
So
good
I'm
assumption.
sure everybody's heard like the word RPC. You can kind of just think of it as like a telephone that lets you talk to the blockchain. So you can hear or get data from the blockchain. So when you open up your Phantom wallet and you see all your balances, that's an RPC call. The RPC does that for you. And then when you try to buy a token and do a swap, it has to send data to the blockchain. It says, threadguy wants to swap shitcoin X for shitcoin Y. And you do that through an RPC. And so that's the kind of stuff that we run. It obviously has to be very fast. It can never go down, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, for example, I think Hyperliquid's APIs went down
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, which isn't necessarily the chain, but since the RPCs talk to the chain, you can't really tell the difference.
Is that? Do you support Hyperliquid? Like, did they? Was Jeff calling you like Mert? Like, we need your help.
No, no, we're not. We're only on Solana.
Okay.
Um, but I am a fan of Hyperliquid.
I saw you tweet about it, and you were like, all the Solana maxis like, please don't dunk on Hyperliquid right now. It's kind of ironic.
Yeah, yeah, no. I used to definitely dunk quite a bit back in my olden days 2 years ago, but I mean, people did it anyways, and they got brutally ratioed. So should have listened.
I saw you tweet. I didn't read it because it was like 200 pages, but I saw you tweet that Helios was mentioned in the White House digital asset report. Like, what was that? Why were you mentioned?
Oh, we were just cited. So like the
Okay.
White House wrote a report, and like whenever you write a legit report, you need to cite your sources and stuff. And so basically, they just read our articles to form their opinions on certain things, I guess.
Okay. Well, congrats. That's pretty sick. You guys, you posted that Internet Capital Markets article not too long ago, which I think is one of the better pieces of writing that's come out of crypto Twitter in a while.
Yeah, no, I love writing. We have like, well, he's not docs, but we have like a published author actually on the team, and so we really have a big focus just because I think the education and information quality in the space is probably a little lower than it should be. So like just trying to pump out as much informational content for free that's like actually informational.
That's a smart hire. I like that. A published author. That's fucking lit. All right. I got a few things for you today. I think topically the most relevant thing, which I think you were just asked about it, but we're talking about it anyways. Fuck it. Is this Jesse versus Anatoly Zora NFT slop? Like, I want to ask you from a high level. Do you think that these Zora creator coins are a new game that we haven't seen yet on Solana or in crypto meme coins in general?
Well, they're new in the sense that they have a few interesting new mechanisms. They're not new in the sense that nothing like this has been tried. Obviously, I think everybody already knows the previous attempts, like Frentech, or there was even BitCloud and all these different things. I think it's certainly worthwhile. It's definitely worthwhile experimentation. It's not like we're just overflowing with great apps with PMF here in crypto. So like take as many shots on goal as possible. Some of them won't work, some of them will. So I personally I tried using it, but first of all, I was scared that I would create a coin, which it seems like actually happened to Jack, which is the next
He's coming out
guest.
right after you. Yeah.
Yeah. And second, it's like an Instagram type of thing or like more visual. And I'm just like, I like words. So like maybe if they add written content, I'll check it out. But other than that, it's just not for me. But I think it's like a cool idea.
Yeah, I think. I mean, do you think it's different from Friend Tech? I wasn't here for BitCloud. Do you think it's different from BitCloud?
It is like a little different in that the thought it seems is like the more posts you get or you make and like the better those posts do, they all kind of contribute back to the creator coin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's like interesting. I think there's a lot of open questions on like, for example, why wouldn't people be able to just always auto buy the new launches and then like snipe them? And I think that was like a big problem before. I'm not sure if they fixed it. And it's like, what's the incentive to actually post, right? Like, you need to take on, fundamentally speaking, all the other social media networks. And like, yeah, making a few thousand or something is cool at first, but like, I also get paid a lot of money just to tweet, and that's not even on purpose, right? So like the thing is like, what is going to actually drive people there? And generally speaking, when it's money only, that tends to dry up, and then you must have another loop. Like people must want to go there because of the social graph. Um, so that's like the question is like, can they actually spin up a good social graph such that it's a fun place to be even when you're not making money?
I think it's a good take. It's like the reason I think it's kind of the same game. It has potential to be a new game, but the reason it feels like it's the same is people are just buying like I'm buying Mert coin the same way I was buying Mert friend tech keys, but I'm not buying like Mert social post that's connected to his creator coin. So I think I don't know. It's an interesting topic, I guess. I'm a little bit more curious on the now infamous Tolly tweet, which is meme coins and NFTs or digital slop. I guess to start, like to ask you a pointed question, are you concerned about the future of Solana if the meme coin activity never comes back?
So I wouldn't be concerned if the like it really depends on the reason. So for example, if the reason that it doesn't come back is because it's just a worse place to trade, and like that reason is due to shitty apps, bad infrastructure, a horrible community, like things like this, it really just depends on what that cause is. So, but like if it's just because like meme coins as a category lose their flavor and like people are like, I'm on to the next thing, just like maybe um, NFTs obviously were much bigger in 2021
Yeah.
and they kind of like lost their jazz. And if it's like something like that, I'm okay with that because it's a whole industry thing. But if it's like, okay, Solana, like, I don't know, MEV's too shitty for the user, or like the transactions don't land because like the president is launching a shitcoin, those are fixable problems that we didn't fix. And so it's our fault. And so I would be concerned at that part.
Makes sense. I still can't believe the president launched a meme coin. But I guess a follow up is how important do you think meme coins and the NFT cycle was for the success of Solana?
Oh, very important. And so I come at this from a technical
Okay.
perspective. And for example, in 2021 and 2022, well, first of all, I think like most people got onto Solana during 21 due to like the DGen Apes mint
Mm-hmm.
and like DGods and all this sort of stuff. But what happened, as many people like to remember, is the chain kept going down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the reason is because people were like, man, these people had some fucking crazy setups, like industrial farms, extremely high tech equipment to just snipe NFT launches. So like obviously I provide RPC, so I would see some of this, and like it was a very advanced game, and like no blockchains to date, to that date at least, hadn't been built for that. Like they were like, oh, we'll do like some DeFi farming and all this stuff, and we can handle that. But like high volume sniping and all this stuff, no blockchain was really prepared for it, especially Solana. And so the chain kept going down. But then we obviously saw like, okay, this sucks. This is the engineering system. It's like we can see the engine is overheating. We can see the engine lights are on. And so we knew what to fix. And when FTX happened, everybody was like super bearish. Obviously, they thought Solana was dead. But internally, I was like, this is super bullish because one, people thought FTX was like a parasite, and so now they're gone. And two, we have these tech fixes coming such that when the next activity does come, Solana will be the only one that can actually really handle it. And that is kind of what happened with meme coins, right? Like one of the reasons why meme coins took off on Solana is because the chain would perform during extreme demand from a bunch of different sources. Now, not perfectly, of course, which is why meme coins are also kind of bullish for Solana, because we learned from that as well, and we have a bunch of new upgrades coming to make the trading experience on Solana even better.
So were you 2021, 2022? Were you providing like RPCs directly to people that were running crazy sniping setups? Like I used to be a sneaker reseller, and so I would bot all these Shopify websites. I'd run AWS servers, and I would have thousands of proxies, and I'd bot all these Shopify sites and Foot Locker and shit. Like, were you providing directly to people that were running like these institutional grade sniping operations?
I'm sure we were. Like we didn't. It's like a self-serve platform, so you just go on the website, spin up your own endpoint. So like, for example, some people might remember the backpack Mad Lads Mint. For that, a lot of people came to our site to just like get an endpoint and put it in their like Phantom or Backpack wallet to like mint the NFT. And so yeah, I think roughly a half or maybe 2/3 of Solana traffic used to go through us, and currently it's probably something like that today.
A half or 2/3 of all Solana traffic goes to you?
I think it used to. I think like today, and by the way, much more goes through Jito.
Okay.
So like, I mean, there's not too many RPC providers. There's like us, and then I'm not gonna name the competitors, but yeah.
No free promo. Wait, why is Jito bigger? Why does more go through Jito?
Well, so Jito is like okay, this is like a highly technical thing,
Yeah,
but
do it though.
Jito's like a validator client. So like validators run Solana, like the software client, right? That's kind of how blockchain works. Like Ethereum people run the Ethereum client. On Solana, Jito is what most people run. Like 90% of validators run Jito's client, meaning 90% of things basically go through Jito's infrastructure. Something like that. I don't want to get into the weeds, but that's like a good enough understanding.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think bringing it back to what I said at the intro is the Helios website internet capital markets thesis is one of the best. We at the house we do this, like we do study time in the morning and we read some shit for an hour, and that was one of our topics. Me and Malcolm like read it out loud to each other. In Solana's current form, especially on the back end of all the hype that like Launchcoin and Ben Pasternak and Believe got, like what percent to the North Star vision is Solana on internet capital markets right now?
Well, you know the saying, it's always day one, which is to say, I think we're on the right track. I think the direction is correct, but it fundamentally just depends on how bullish you are in the space, right? Like if you think the space grows 100x, then of course, by definition, that means you're at 1%, or at step one, let's say. And I think we're on the right track. I think there's good competition. So like definitely want to be aware of that. Like Hyperliquid is good. It's going to be interesting to take on Coinbase, which has like just a gigantic distribution and USA advantage. But I think we have by far the best engineers and technical talent in all of crypto, and like some of the best performance engineers just in the world. Um, so I think uh, it'll be a little turbulent, but we're gonna get it done.
Best engineers in the world is crazy. What how do you lay out, especially to the less technical people, how do you lay out what your internet capital markets thesis is?
Um, I mean, really, I just say internet markets,
Okay.
right? Like, I don't even say internet capital markets. And it's basically, I think a good example is when X stocks went live on Solana, where you can literally just buy Tesla, Nvidia, Apple stock on chain, on Jupiter, on Radium, right? You can literally just swap Fartcoin into fucking Tesla, or
It's
like,
crazy.
put in some other shitcoin and then borrow against it to buy stocks. And like, all you need is not like a Robinhood brokerage account or like, Interactive Brokers account or like all this KYC shit. You just need an internet connection. And with the internet, you can participate in global markets. And those markets might be like, for example, you can also trade like uranium on Solana. You can trade gold, but you can also trade shitcoins or RWAs or dollars or euros. So you have all these different interesting assets in the world, and anyone with an internet connection alone can participate in them. And that makes the markets much more powerful because markets need size, liquidity, concentration for them to like emerge on sentiment and truth.
What do you think is like the main systemic risk for Solana to not win the internet capital markets thesis and they lose to like a hyperliquid or a base or some other chain?
I would say I don't think any of the risks are existential, but I do think there are risks. I think the biggest risk is network effects. So, for example, there's still a lot of assets on Ethereum, like just much more TVL and stable volume. And it's not because like Ethereum is just a better user experience. It's like we know it's not. Everybody knows this. But like those network effects are extremely hard to beat, right? One of the reasons why Solana succeeded as like one of the all-tell ones where not many others did is because Solana was a 10x better experience at that time at least. And then now all the other ones that come out are like mostly the same. There's like a 1.5x difference or something plus or minus. And so you need, it's like Newton's laws, right? Like you need to overcome that inertia. And it's not enough to just meet that force. You need to meet that force and then some. And so network effects is going to be a big one. And you can kind of see this playing out today, right? Where you got Tommy Lee on TV and the current game is the treasury companies, right? And that's just a much easier sell for Ethereum because it's just been around much longer. And it's like, I don't want to say that no one got fired for buying IBM thing, but it's kind of like that. Or like the new analogy that I made is like, I actually think the bull case for Ethereum is it's kind of like the Excel of crypto, where it's like Excel is like it doesn't seem super sexy, but everybody uses it that plays with money. Like at some point, anybody using money, whether it's accountants, Wall Street, investments, whatever, it goes back to Excel. And that's like a very hard effect to beat. Um, so I think that's the biggest one. And then obviously Coinbase amplifies that too. The second one, like there's Hyperliquid.
Huh?
Um, but I think that one is like I think there will be multiple winners for execution. So I think it's net good that Hyperliquid exists because I'd much rather them succeed than like a Binance or a Coinbase centralized exchange, for example.
I like that. Do you think that Solana needs a premier treasury company and a Michael Saylor, Tommy Lee type of figure to really bring in the TradFi adoption? Like, does Solana have to get on the treasury company wave?
Well, I mean, I've been asked to do like 4 or 5 of these, like to be the sailor, and I've said no personally, just because I think they are the current game. Like Kobe has a good piece on this, right? The meta game, where it's like you kind of just have to play the game that's the current theme to stay relevant, to survive, or to make the money during that time phrase. However, I don't think they are super inspiring things in the long term, right? Like I'm 29, and if I were to spend like a lot of effort on this today instead of like working on technology, really trying to help the developer experience, trying to close bigger contracts, um, then I think that would be kind of like a waste for me personally. And I think for Solana, like, I'm sure there will be more. Like these things are just popping up everywhere. So I think they will just keep happening. The question is like, what happens when the supply is too great for the demand, right? Like if there's like 100 of these trades now, because you can argue that treasury company stuff worked because strategy was just like the only one
Yeah.
for years. And it's like, we'll see how it plays out. I don't think it's existentially necessary for Solana, but I think it's a very nice to have.
Makes sense. Damn, being offered 4, you would. I mean, you'd probably make a crazy amount of money from that, right? If you took on one of these treasury companies, how much do you think you would make? Were you just given like insane offers?
I mean, you would definitely make like high seven figures, low eight figures at the very least. Um, and depending on how successful you are with the endeavor, obviously you can just keep multiplying that, um, which is like cool. Uh, but I'd rather make money the good old fashioned way, which is like building a valuable startup.
Honestly, respect, dude. Respect you because you would be good for. I think you would be the top pick if you were running a fucking treasury company draft. I'm not sure who gets selected higher than you on the Solana team. But I respect the take there. At any point of post FTX, like what was your lowest point as a sole diehard? I didn't really know you that well in 2022. What was your lowest low as a sole diehard at any point? Were you ready to like quit the company and or leave Solana, work on a different chain? Like what was your lowest point?
Honestly, I don't think I've had that low of a point to date. Um, I've no with regards to like did we ever consider going across chains or anything like that? Zero times. Um, I was. It seemed to me like one of those, you hear about like those great trades being made, and it's like this guy kind of thought he knew better than the market and just kept kind of doubling down on it and try to leverage everything. That was kind of me. Like I was just super convinced that we were correct. And one of the reasons is because we could see it in our startup numbers. Like people would say something like, "Oh, Solana has 75 developers left." And like I'd be like, "We have like multiples of that in paying customers. So how is that correct?" Right? Like, we know it's not correct. And so there's like a pretty big information asymmetry here. Um, and so like being against the corner, I think it's like super motivating. I think what's like ironically maybe a lower point is like when you feel like you're winning. So like I would say my lowest point probably was like really around the Trump stuff where I was like, where could it even go from here? Like the president just dropped a coin. And I made a post about this. It wasn't a Solana specific thing. It was
Yeah.
a crypto specific thing where I was like, I'm not sure how much like attention crypto can get from here if the presidents are launching coins. Um, like now is the era of like institutional sales, and there's going to be like some boring stuff for the next 1-2 years, and that's kind of what's happened. Like these treasury company things, Wall Street things, that's kind of like that playing out. Um, but it's not like a low point in terms of like motivation or anything. It's just like excitement, maybe.
Respect. I have respect. I feel you on the Trump thing. It's kind of a like everything you ever wanted as a trader, and then it happens, and it's like, okay, now what? Like, what the fuck do we do now? In a
Yeah.
sense. Okay, I asked this to I didn't ask this directly to David Hoffman when I had him on, and he gave a ridiculous answer. He gave a crazy answer, and he said that he was responsible for 25% of ETH's market cap in 2021. So I'm not clip farming you to say something crazy, but I am curious, like, how much of an impact do you think Mert, the human, the builder, the founder, has had on the impact of Solana and that trickle down effect since 2021? Not even on the market cap, but just like the ecosystem as a whole.
Oh man. Um, I just, I mean, I think what I'm good with is that I made a greater than zero impact. The actual quantity is not really for me to determine, right? Like it's, you know, sometimes I'll get people coming up to me at conferences and stuff, and like, you know, they'll thank me, and that's like super humbling and nice. There's like a crazy occurrence once where this random guy comes up to me and he has like an AP watch, and like he's like just showing me his mansion in France, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this guy showing me this? He's like showing me a Lambo, and he's like, you know, this is because of you and Anatoly. You guys work for me. You guys made me a lot of money. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Uh, and I was like, at that point, I was like, wow, actually, people like really succeeded from this. But like, you know, fundamentally, I don't really. As long as I do my best every day, then the score takes care of itself, right? I can only control the inputs. I don't control the outputs. So, you know, as long as it's greater than zero, I'll take that.
It's a humble answer. That's gotta feel a little crazy. The guy comes up to you and he's like richer than everyone. He's like, "Hey, you did this for me. You work for me." Is crazy. As one of like the last things I'm gonna ask you is like, we've sort of talked about it already, but maybe more pointed is like, what do you think is the ultimate win condition North Star for Solana in 2025? Because I would imagine after everything that's happened, especially over 2024, it's like evolved a little bit. It's definitely evolved from where it was in 2021, 2022. Like, how do you look at the like pointed focus for the chain to win long term at this point?
Yeah. I would say, well, first of all, I don't believe in winning in the context of this, because it's like an infinite game where like the only way to win is to just keep playing. The only way to lose is to think you have won. I think that's like, I tweet this all the time, by the way. I'm really annoying about it. But I would say like, okay, so there's the meta answer, which everybody already knows, which is IBRL, right? Increased bandwidth, reduced latency. And what we mean by that is like, we believe in this fundamental vision of internet markets where you can just, with an internet connection, trade all sorts of markets, help entrepreneurs, and fundamentally evolve capitalism, right? Like capital flows between everybody are simple, frictionless. You can start businesses, you can start markets, you can fundraise, all this stuff. You can trade. You can buy real things in the world. Like that's the vision that inspires me. And so it's like, if you work backwards from that, well, one, you have to be the fastest, the best place to trade. Like you need to focus ruthlessly on product. And so that's where the decentralized NASDAQ thing comes. Mm-hmm. The actual like saying really means the experience of the NASDAQ, but in a decentralized way. So thousands of computers functioning as one. And then, you know, my own little side mission is like, I want Solana to be like the Silicon Valley of crypto, where it's like, you know, if you're a founder and you want to start a company, you probably think of SF or Y Combinator or something. I want that association to be, if you're a crypto founder, you just think of Solana because you get the best founder app and community support.
Banger, dude. Mert, you're a fucking chat, bro. I'm happy we finally got to do it. I appreciate you coming on. It's a lot of fun.
Of course, man.
By the way, I know you gave a humble answer, but that percent on Sol is like a lot. It's a high percent, dude. It genuinely is. You deserve it. You do a great job. One of the best accounts on Twitter. I have your Twitter pin for everyone that's not familiar with you, if they're somehow not. But I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the time.
All right. Take